Hello everyone, Krydex here, and welcome back to pYanodon's Season 3, the Silicon episode. We're not diving into Hell Mod the whole time, we're actually going to be building things. We've had enough of Hell Mod in the last couple days. I am a little tired, still waking up here. The coffee's still brewing. I have to kind of rush a little bit. I don't love to be rushing for the Zen Garden experience. But I'm on a timetable because I've got a thing happening and I need to finish the episode before that thing happens because then I won't have time after. Kind of busy these days with work. I'm kind of working 3 jobs in a sense. I've got this, I've got some math tutoring on the side, and then I'm also working my job at a restaurant, which I've really been enjoying, but it is definitely keeping me busy. So, all that to say, we are going to be building some silicon. Now, I can't find where we were going to build it. I thought, was it here? No. Where was it? Oh, wait, it was one of these. Which one of these was it? It was this one. Here it is. Okay. Yeah, because I remember we even deleted some stuff in preparation. So, we're going to need to import all kinds of stuff. So, the numbers are huge for pure sand and coal dust. So, we're going to need to import a crap ton of those. And then those go to HPFs. As far as providing, we're going to need to be providing quite a few things. But the rates are pretty low. So I think we can provide them all in one warehouse. Maybe I'll provide silicon in its own. Silicon will be provided in its own, and the rest will be provided in a multi-provider station. Like so. Okay. And I really do want to rework the, because I can just have, well, can I have 1 power pole? Not really. I'm still going to need 2 power poles. And see, this is super annoying because that power pole is going to like cover up the combinator. Although, will the combinator signals show through the power pole? I guess they will. And then that one wouldn't power up this stuff, so then I'm gonna need another one on this side. Maybe right next to the rail. So I'm still gonna need 2 power poles, but at least this way I'll be able to get all 6 loaders without having to do anything weird. This will probably survive on 2 loaders. Okay, let's get going here. So pure sand will come in 1, and coal dust will come in the other. As far as other solids, it's all pretty small numbers. Coke and graphite are medium, everything else is quite small. I guess there's 3 powdered quartz potentially, but nickel's small, cobalt extract small, aramid small, crushed quartz is pretty small. We need some fuel. I could just use the coke for that and then burn the ash. That's probably what I'll do. So yeah, let's start with importing coal dust here. And how many stacks? So theoretically, oh my gosh, 23 stacks a minute. We need 1 train per minute. I'm just gonna assume that by the time we need this rate, we're going to have the next tier of trains, because we're not that far from them. Once we have Kimsai, you know, which is kind of what we're working towards in the first place, we'll have the trains. So 40 stacks is not enough. We're gonna need like, that's 23 stacks per minute, so 2 minutes would be 46. Yeah, I need like 70 stacks alone just for the coal dust. And same for the pure sand. Pure sand. 70 stacks. Uh-oh. It's never good when you see that. Then again, these... Hold on. What are these stupid trees? Get out of here. You're harshing my melon. Harshing my melon indeed. Alright, get rid of all this crap. No more nature. Out, out, out with you. Out with you, I say. Okay. Anyway, so that's done. Then we're gonna need, let's see. I don't know what we're gonna need yet. Oh, you know what I didn't do was Krydax. Krydax. Why am I like this? I knew we needed lots of extra space for belts, and then I didn't leave it. I didn't leave the extra space. So I only have 4 belts out of each available. Oh no. I guess we'll go with 2 belts, and then by the time we need more than 30, we'll be able to upgrade to red belts. That's the plan. That's the plan. Alright. Fine. Okay. So that's there, and then these do the same thing. For sand. And then we've got, let's see, the rates on these is pretty significant. 4 a second each, as far as inputs go. So let's think about this. So we've got maybe it almost makes sense to get some sort of splitter magic going. So let's imagine, let's find a good spot to try this out. So let's imagine we've got 2 belts coming along, and then we want to split 1 off and load. And then we need that to go underground while this one splits off and loads. Is there a way that can be smaller? Maybe. How would we make this smaller? So somehow this one would have to be there. And then do that. But then this one needs an underground to get past this one. While then this one squiggles back down. And then this one splits off and loads. And then this one undergrounds. So it actually is doable. You just need this many squares, which is 1 bigger than a high pressure furnace. Or wait, do we actually need this many squares? No, because we don't need that square. And this square could be replaced with that square. So that actually does work. Haha! And then a power pole. Ta-da! Alright. Perfect. So it's only 3 tiles tall. To get 2 belts loading into 1 building the size of a high pressure furnace. And then we're gonna do 5 and then 5 underneath that. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then we need 3 spaces, maybe 4, just to be certain we're fine. Oh, back. And then we've got this fancy schmancy design. And then output wise, we've got 2 a second, so we just need sideways inserter. For that. Okay. Boom, 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 boom. Power. It's so nice that we can go every other on those. I love it. I need to get the power comb mod. Look at this. Look at this nonsense. Yeah, this is ugly. There is a mod that like goes through and tries to clean up power lines. I'll have to try it out and see how I like it. But yeah, this will be silicon. And then that'll come back over. And I don't know what exactly we're gonna do with all of it, but we'll do half there. Okay, and then these guys go over. Okay, so one of them needs to go in the top there. This one needs to go in the top of the other one. Then this one needs to go into this square, and this one needs to go into this square. And I want to say that'll do it. Remove coal dust from the filters there. And I'm gonna pause the recording here and go get some coffee. Okay, we're back. And we've got silicon done. Cool, cool, cool. All right, so we're also gonna need a fluid requester. Yeah, let's get the rest of the stuff pasted in here. So fluid request. Oh, too many rotations. To rotate, too furious. All right, wait, we need to get that there. We're requesting. We can make the hydrogen on. Wait, how does this work again? Hold on. Hold on. No, because we need to send some of this trichlorosilane. I don't remember if it's the regular or the pure, but it doesn't matter because we lose the HCl either way. But we gain hydrogen. So we're actually going to end up with excess hydrogen. So if I really wanted to not be wasteful, I would have a treasure for hydrogen fluid. So we're definitely going to need to request hydrogen chloride. And we'll just do a full tank because, you know, it's easy. I think that's good. I just realized a huge problem. Oh no. Okay, so here's the huge problem. When we, oh jeez. I'm about to have a mental breakdown right now. I think we're gonna have to redo every single train station in our entire base. I don't think we planned ahead for train upgrades properly. Because, okay, so with the way Cybersyn works, and I think we might have to do it for liquids and solids. For a second, I thought we were just gonna have to do it for liquids. So what just went through my brain is I was like, man, 75,000, it still isn't very much. That's only 3 train loads. Like, you know, what if this actually needed 11,000 a minute? Like, it'll be nice to have the 75,000 capacity trains. But once we have the 75,000 capacity trains, we're gonna want bigger tanks as well, because then we're gonna need more of a buffer. So then I'm probably gonna redo this blueprint, yada, yada, yada. But then I was thinking, well, once we replace all the trains on the network with bigger capacity trains, we're gonna have a problem. Because at fluid loading stations, such as this one, Oh, good. We don't have inactivity condition set. Never mind. We're okay. At least for fluids. Because we don't have inactivity condition set, which means the moment the train has what it wants, it leaves. So it'll be within 1 tick. I don't know if it'll leave at exactly 25,000, because fluid can move as quickly as 100 per tick, or even more, 1,200 per tick. Or 5, no, what is that? 1,000 per tick? 2,000 per tick. So I'm not actually entirely certain how much can move in 1 tick, but even that could create problems. Oh, we're gonna have to test that. Like if the train has 75,000 capacity for fluid, or 50,000. Wait, I'm not doing tier 2 fluid wagons because they're weird. And we didn't set up for weird on fluid. Oh, that's a bummer. Okay, yeah, we're not getting the fluid upgrade until we get to the next lead reinforced, which is pY3 science. So that's a long way away. But that being said, when we get to there, I think we're gonna have problems potentially still, because it just depends on how much extra it loads past what it wants. If it's only a few units, it's probably fine. I would just need to make sure the request thresholds are never quite, you know, like if I'm requesting 75,000 and this holds 75,000, that's a little scary. That's getting really tight. If this comes in with an extra 1,000 units in it, where's that 1,000 units gonna go, kind of thing. But if it's not too much extra, we're fine. And as long as I never have an inactivity condition. But that's not how solid loading works. Solid loading does have inactivity condition set. However, it also has filtering. Do I have inactivity condition? So I guess it's still fine. We're not going to overload the trains, except on single providers, which don't have inactivity condition set. Okay, everything's perfect then. Okay, never mind. Oh, I feel so much better. Okay. We only have inactivity conditions set on the stations that provide or have the outputs filtered. Okay. Everything's fine then. Which means the trains will automatically leave as soon as they have what they want. Now, I guess the exception could be with these. Let me find one. The fluid, the train, what are we calling it these days? Fungible, FP fungible. Because those have no loading manifest checked and inactivity condition. So that one's gonna be a problem. Okay. When we upgrade. Yeah, so it'll request like 20,000 fluid fuel, but then it'll arrive with... Oh, this is bad. Am I gonna need... How am I gonna fix this? I don't actually know. Interesting. How am I gonna fix this? I think the way I'll fix it... this is gonna be rough. I'm just gonna have to make this a bigger tank and this a bigger tank, so that it can fit up to 75,000 of that particular fluid. I just don't see another way to do it. And then I'll just have to change the request threshold to 75,000. And then the request size almost doesn't matter. I guess it kind of does, because that's the minimum amount it would get, but it'll get whatever the source has, even if it's more than this. So if I'm storing more than this in the source, that's what'll go on the train because of inactivity condition. Unless the filter, I guess we could filter the outputs. Never mind, we could filter the outputs. So, where were we providing that? I already lost where that was. Down here? Yeah. So what we could do, because it's already filtered for pressurized air to be negative, so now all we need to do is add the train contents and filter an arithmetic combinator that into pressurized air and then add that back in. I mean, basically the same thing we're already doing for multi-providers here. We just need to do that. Yeah, we add the output of the thing. And then we're negating it, and then we're saying if it's greater than 0, but I can do it the other way. Since they're filters, I can keep it negative. And can't I just add the train contents directly in? I think I can. And then that works. Oh, okay. That is elegant. Okay, well, we saw, not only are we working on our silicon build in this episode, but we solved a future issue. Now I'm less worried about that. Okay, so we've got our HCl. 18 FBRs making trichlorosilane. So we'll probably do 10 and 10. And we'll have silicon coming up the middle. I plan to burn these 3 ores, by the way. Sue me. Sue me if you want, but that's what we're doing. Okay, so it's always confused me. So we've got side, 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 and there's only 3 things, right? Yeah. So I can put them right up next to each other, despite how weird that looks, because we've got access to everything on the sides. And because I want the belt coming up the middle with solids, we'll have the access to these 2. Which way should it go? Should it go like that, top to bottom, or bottom to top? I almost feel like bottom to top because the inputs are coming bottom to top. Somehow that feels right, but I don't know. Left to right is always correct, regardless of which way the belts are going, so I guess top to bottom is always correct. Because that's the direction we read, at least in English. 4, 5. Okay, let's get the rest before we copy it. So there's that, and then each building only needs 0.5, which is a very small amount. So we'll just throw an inserter there. Throw an inserter there. You really can't fit these power poles anywhere without hiding stuff. I'm serious about how much I feel that downside. There's a tiny part of me that's almost like, can I just replace the Nextlit power pole sprite with like a blue version of the medium power pole sprite? Like, I'm really not digging how obtrusive this sprite is. Maybe I'm just a complainer. I don't know. For whatever reason, with my preferences, that size of that sprite really is actively kind of frustrating for me. It's not like a 10 out of 10 deal. It's only like a 3 out of 10, you know, but it is annoying. Given how often you use them, and every time I paste one down, I'm like, man, that's in the way. I can't see what's behind it. And like, that is annoying. I don't know. Now, when do I get substations? I guess that's the next question. We get actual substations very soon. And I'll be able to create them the moment we research them. So as soon as I have substations, I'll probably switch to using those. Because those have a supply area of 18. Which is not that much more than 13 for what it's worth. So I might not use substations as often as I think. Anyway, this is done. Let me copy this. And I'll go every other on these. And then we've got another 5. And then we've got that horizontally flipped. Minus the power poles. I'll just remove those manually. Okay. Should do it. You get some more robo coverage here. Okay, so then the silicone, I guess we'll actually have it go up this way behind everything. So some goes to trains. Why is it not running, by the way? What did I break? I can't see what I broke. Oh no. Oh, I'm a dummy. You know, it's so funny. I was talking about these buildings not bothering me, but I've managed to make it completely invisible to the naked eye what's going on behind here. Okay, so in both cases we have coal dust on the right. So these need to be actually filtering. No. This one. Wait, no, I've done something wrong. No, I haven't. No, now I'm still confused. Oh, no. I just plugged it in wrong. I just needed to plug in the coal dust to go that. Rather than that. That's the only thing I did wrong. So this just needs to be that, and this needs to... Oh, no. I'm swapping the order on this one. That one will be that. And then coal dust will be that one. Okay. Whoa, where am I? I am not where I thought I was. Let's go fix that manually. Get stuff off the belts. All right, hold on. I gotta pause the recording real quick. Okay, so I don't even know what's on these belts at this point. I'm gonna have to do one of these and just extract until it comes out clear. Uh-oh. Seems it's still mixing. No, we're good now. Okay. Get it out of your system. And that one's correct because, yeah, it's supposed to be reversed. Alright. There we go. Silicon production is up and running. Beautiful. Oh, right. I meant to do this. There we go. Both sides of the belt. And then... Sure, we'll hook that up to be a little faster. Since we've got bigger trains coming, I think we need to revamp all of our stations to just be 6 loaders. At least that's my plan. Okay, so then we're gonna want a big Do we need a big buffer? Yeah, we need a buffer for HCl. That we only, because we end up getting back the HCl and then using that. So we only want to top this one up to a small amount. Put it lined up with this one. So we need like a top-up valve. Oh, I gotta pause again. Sorry, I'm communicating with someone about something. Alright, so top-up valve. Where are they? Can't find the little buggers. Top up to 10%. And then we've got... 1, 2, 3 is how that goes. Am I on the right line here? I am. Okay. Yay! Trichlorosilane. Let's go. Alright, then hydrogen, we will... What will we do? Okay, now here's the tricky part. How do we guarantee... Because we need that hydrogen to make electronic grade silicon. But if we steal some trichlorosilane for the train station, then we never use that hydrogen and we end up with too much. So we need to buffer an amount of hydrogen. I just want to make it so that we never, ever, 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 ever end up going the wrong direction. Because if we end up getting rid of hydrogen we shouldn't have, then we're not going to have enough hydrogen to make the electronic grade silicon, and the whole thing is going to come to a screeching halt because I'm not bringing in hydrogen. So how do I guarantee that we don't have that issue? I guess it's just have a bigger tank for hydrogen, because the amounts are 1-to-1. So if the tank we have for hydrogen is bigger and we set that to overflow at 90%, I didn't mean to do that. 90%, we should be okay. So if this is our hydrogen tank and it only overflows at 90%, I think we're okay. As far as other fluids, we also have flue gas, so I guess it's worth building our super trasher. Those don't link up, thankfully. So this is for hydrogen and flue gas. I'm gonna need to make a version of this with bigger tanks as well. Once we end up with whatchamacallit, bigger fluid wagons. There's gonna be a lot of train rebuilding going on for sure at some point, but I think we're still pretty far from that. Okay, so then this needs to be only in the event of a large overflow, like 90%. Otherwise, the hydrogen just sticks in here. And then we need to connect across hydrogens, and we need to connect across HCl's. And then we need to I'm still not even sure that's enough space. Let's just make sure. I just really don't want to have to import hydrogen. I don't know. Should we just... I'm kind of panicking about this. Okay, panic is very much an overstatement. But, you know, just... I don't know. If something weird happens, I just wanna make sure. I'm just gonna top up to 10% here. I just want to make sure this doesn't break down randomly for some ungodly reason. So we'll just do that. I could put that. This is only emergency, so I don't expect it to run. So I'm not gonna put it in the trash there, or the byproduct provider, whatever we call that. Okay, so then we need 10 DDCs for this nonsense. Those look very similar, indeed. 2, 4, 8, 10. What's more elegant? I think 10 in a row is fine. I don't know, that's pretty tall, but it's not like twice as tall, so that's fine. Shift them all a little bit here. Do. Sorry, writing a text. Okay, so connect up these guys. Then we're gonna have all the trash crap, which I'm not totally sure. I guess we'll have the Coke somewhere over here, so we'll just load all those onto a belt. I think I'm gonna try to keep the belt closer so we can save more space. Do that. Okay. And go into map view so we can just hold up. And we're done. That one, I am gonna future protect myself, because it is close enough to the other block. See, this one I'm not worried about it because we're not gonna build something up here, almost certainly, and up here's too far to connect. I mean, even up here, like if we were all the way in the corner, it wouldn't connect. So that's fine. All right, and then the silane is where? Did I do a dummy? Wait, what did I do? This isn't connected to anything. Oh no. No, I kind of, well, yes. Yes and no. I did and didn't do a dummy. Alright, hold on. I could filter deconstruction planner on this exact entity, but I think this is probably faster. Yeah, that was faster. Alright, and then I do this, and then I copy just that. Luckily, that's not overlapping with any of our whatchamacallits. Okay, and then that goes to the regular silane, which is here. T-junction, L-junction. Okay, that'll do it. We got pure trichlorosilane. We only need one power pole for 3 buildings, which is like the weirdest thing I've ever seen. I love it. Absolutely love it. And now we need to unload everything onto a belt, which we already are, and then that all goes to maybe 2 burner. What's a burner rate again? I kind of forget. 3 a second. No, we'll be fine. I will need to grab some form of fuel though here, which will be Coke, we said. Okay, and then finally we've got 20 of these bad boys, which I assume, yeah, we need to have 10 and 10. Okay. And these output a solid. They input 2 fluids and output a fluid, so there's 3 fluids involved, and we are going to need all 3 sides of the building. That is annoying. Wait, no. Yes. Yeah, there's no way to do this. Because we... Okay, they're going to have to be spaced out by 1. I could do it this way and do the double, you know, connections, so there's only a space every other. Do I care enough to do that? Maybe I do, actually. That'll save me like 5 spaces in the course of things. We've got those 2, these 2, and then the inline. Or no, this is still just a normal side to side. Okay, and then the output is slow, so those will go onto a central belt, which comes back down the middle. And then the hydrogen input, of course, is just hooked directly into this guy. And then the HCl output goes directly into this guy. And then we want to make sure that has plenty of space, but I think it does. Okay, that's the HCl output. And then the pure trichlorosilane input turns the corner here to go to here. All right. And I want to say that should do it, and I can hit the H key, build that. Ooh, what'd we make? Oh, the first electronic grade silicon. Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. And we need 20 of these. And then we'll probably call it an episode after that, since I do need to go. Let's see. 3, 4, and 5. And then we'll get a RoboPort maybe right here. Perfect. Okay. That's electronic grade silicon done. And we'll need to bring coke up here. I'm just gonna put a reminder for myself for that so I don't forget. And then as far as the rest of the build, it should come together pretty quick. There's only a few buildings left, but unfortunately I don't think we quite have enough time for that today, so we will call it here. I got some good progress though. And you know what? Because I'm so forgetful about these things, I'm gonna write a future note to myself. We're gonna do a new task, future notes. Let's move it to the bottom. And this is going to have random things like checked on train station upgrades. And we found out that solids are good to go for Mark II upgrade, no changes. So we can upgrade all of our wagons to Mark II, and nothing bad should happen to our entire base. Nothing good will happen either, because of requests being set up the way they are, but we can then start to change request thresholds on high volume items to reduce train traffic. Then we need to change, fluids are good to go for Mark III upgrade with changing of tank sizes on blueprints. Increase loaders and chests, probably. Well, maybe not. Maybe I'll do the default to 144 for chests, and then if we have red loaders, then that's fast enough as well. So maybe I don't need to expand it bigger than that, but I don't know. We'll look into that. And then finally, fluid fuel BPs require larger tanks for requesters. We spent all the time to figure that out. We should write it down somewhere. All right, well, as always, thank you guys for watching. Let me know what you think down in the comments below, and I will see you guys in the next episode.